What's up? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're talking about a franchise that started strong, achieved greatness, but has since made its way into mediocrity. That's right, it's Far Cry, a series that gave us unforgettable moments, but now feels like it's running on autopilot. The rise of Far Cry. Let's start with the golden years. The original Far Cry introduced us to sprawling open-world gameplay back in 2004. Far Cry 2 was raw and immersive, throwing us into an African war zone with brutal mechanics like weapon jamming and malaria. But it was Far Cry 3 that defined the franchise. An emotional story of survival and that beautiful open-world sandbox. This game had it all. Far Cry 5 got a ton of hate when it was released. Some called it watered down and accused it of avoiding deeper political themes. But honestly, it didn't deserve the level of backlash it received. Sure, the lack of a voiced protagonist was a letdown and the gameplay loop wasn't revolutionary. But in retrospect, Far Cry 5 was a solid entry with incredible villains, dynamic gameplay, and a fresh setting that gave the franchise a much-needed shakeup. And then there's Far Cry 6. Oh boy, this game looked amazing on paper. Giancarlo Esposito as the ruthless dictator, Anton Castillo, a massive open world inspired by Cuba, and explosive guerrilla warfare. But it all fell apart in execution. First off, the story was just too long. What could have been a tight, impactful narrative became a bloated mess. The same repetitive structure: liberate region, defeat side villain, rinse and repeat. The side villains, completely forgettable. They lacked the menace and complexity of characters like Vaas or Pagan Min. Instead, we got cartoonish, goofy caricatures who were more annoying than intimidating. None of them made a lasting impression. Segment 4. Far Cry New Dawn, the low point. The villains, Mickey and Lou, were painfully one-dimensional. They were supposed to be terrifying leaders of a raider gang, but they came off as shallow and boring. Compare them to Vaas or Joseph Seed, and it's like night and day. On top of that, New Dawn relied heavily on recycled content from Far Cry 5. Same map, slightly tweaked visuals, and a story that was both unnecessary and forgettable. It felt like Ubisoft had given up on even trying to innovate. Ubisoft budget issues. On top of that, Ubisoft's games are starting to feel cheap. Budgets for these massive titles might still sound big on paper, but the execution tells another story. Recycled assets, lifeless side quests, and a lack of polish are becoming all too common. It's clear the focus has shifted from quality to quantity, and we, the players, are feeling it. But that's just my take. What do you think? Has Far Cry achieved new levels of mediocrity, or is there still hope for the series? Let me know in the comments below. Smash that like button, subscribe for more deep dives, and as always, this is Alpha Bayek.